Peace be upon you. Welcome back to Wealth and Wisdom. The hardest mental hurdle to overcome, when evaluating Bitcoin as money, is often that it is digital. Bitcoin is not tangible, and on the surface, it is not intuitive. How could something entirely digital be money? While the dollar is mostly digital, it remains far more tangible than Bitcoin in the mind of most. While the digital dollar emerged from its paper predecessor and physical dollars remain in circulation, Bitcoin is natively digital. With the dollar, there is a physical representation that anchors our mental models in the tangible world. With Bitcoin, there is not. While Bitcoin possesses far more credible monetary properties than the dollar has always been money, for most people, and as a consequence, its digital representation is seemingly a more intuitive extension from the physical to the digital world. While the dollar's basis as money is anchored in time and while its digital nature may seem more tangible, Bitcoin represents finite scarcity. The supply of the dollar, on the other hand, has no limits. Remember that the dollar does not have any inherent monetary properties. It leveraged the monetary properties of gold in its ascent to global reserve status, but in itself, there are no unique properties that ground the dollar as a stable form of money, other than its relative scarcity in the construct of its credit-linked monetary system. When evaluating Bitcoin, the first principal question to consider is whether something digital could share the quintessential properties that made gold a store of value, and a form of money. Did gold emerge as money because it was physical or because it possessed transcendent properties beyond being physical? Of all the physical objects in the world, why gold? Gold emerged as money not because it was physical, but instead because its aggregate properties were unique. Most importantly, gold is scarce, fungible and highly durable. While gold possessed many properties which made it superior to any money that came before it, its fatal flaw was that it was difficult to transport and susceptible to centralization, which is ultimately why the dollar emerged as its transactional counterpart. Bitcoin shares the monetary properties that caused gold to emerge as a monetary medium, but it also improves upon gold's flaws. While gold is relatively scarce, Bitcoin is finitely scarce and both are extremely durable. While gold is fungible, it is difficult to assay. Bitcoin is fungible and easy to assay. Gold is difficult to transfer and highly centralized. Bitcoin is easy to transfer and highly decentralized. Essentially, Bitcoin possesses all of the desirable traits of both physical gold and the digital dollar combined in one, but without the critical flaws of either. When evaluating monetary mediums, first principles are fundamental. Ignore the conclusion or endpoint, and start by asking yourself, if Bitcoin were actually scarce and finite, ignoring that it is digital, could that be an effective measure of value and ultimately a store of value? Is scarcity a sufficiently powerful property that Bitcoin could emerge as money, regardless of whether the form of that scarcity is digital? Money is the tool we use to be the arbiter in determining relative value among more abundant consumption goods and capital goods. It is the good that coordinates all other economic activity. The absolute quantity of money is less important than its properties of being scarce and measurable. Scarcity is money's most important property. If supply of the unit of measure were constantly and unpredictably changing, it would be very difficult to measure the value of goods relative to it, which is why scarcity, on its own, is an incredibly valuable property. While the value of the underlying measurement unit may fluctuate relative to goods and services, stability in the supply of money results in the least amount of noise in the relative price signal of other goods. Despite being digital, Bitcoin is designed to provide absolute scarcity, which is why it has the potential to be such an effective form of money and measure of value. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and 21 million is a scarily small number in relative, absolute terms. To provide broader context, the Federal Reserve, the Bank of Japan and the European Central Bank have collectively created $10 trillion worth of new money since the financial crisis of '08, the equivalent of approximately $500,000 per Bitcoin. Despite dollars, euro, yen and Bitcoin all being digital, Bitcoin is the only medium that is tangibly scarce, and the only one with inherent monetary properties. However, it is insufficient to simply claim that Bitcoin is finitely scarce, nor should anyone simply accept this as fact. It is important to understand how and why that is the case. Why can't more than 21 million Bitcoin be created and why can't it be copied? Why is Bitcoin secure and why can't it be manipulated? We answer these questions and more in our series of videos. If you learned something today, help out our channel by subscribing and liking. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.